Hey friends, is imposter syndrome sabotaging your motivation? Maybe you've had a health goal that you want to achieve. Maybe you have a business goal that you want to achieve. Maybe there's personal and life goals that you want to achieve. Maybe imposter syndrome is actually keeping you from being 100% you 100% of the time. Well, I want to help you stop all of the imposter syndrome. I want to tell you today about two different types of imposter syndrome that could possibly be sabotaging your motivation. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Road to Radical Visibility. I am your host, Rachel Freemon Sowers, also known as the Breakthrough Bitch, because I am passionate about helping people in the LGBTQ plus and female communities become more bold in the expression of themselves, their mission, and their truth in business and in life. And if you've hung out here on the Rachel Freemon Sowers channel for very long, you would hear my professional and personal motto is being 100% yourself 100% of the time, no shame or guilt needed. I just feel like I have to have a mic drop every single time I say that. So let's dive in to the two different types. Now, I've been sharing this with quite a few of my clients, and they always say to me, wow, I didn't think of it that way, or I've never heard of the two different types of imposter syndrome. What I experience, because I'm working with high-level professionals and entrepreneurs, what happens is the second type of imposter syndrome really fits them better than the first type. So I'll dive into all of that. But first, I want to ask you, did you know that 70 to 75% of the population experiences imposter syndrome? Yeah, that's a huge number, 70 to 75%. And that it is even higher amongst women and in minority communities. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, to me, that sounds like a real cultural issue. And we should probably be looking at this on a deeper level, which I am really excited about doing. I'm thinking about creating a series about imposter syndrome. And if that's something you want, tell me in the comments below, because I'd love to see if it's worth creating. All right, so let's dive into the two types of imposter syndrome. The first type of imposter syndrome we're going to talk about is INE imposter syndrome, or I am not enough imposter syndrome. All right, so I'm qualifying these two, so stick with me here. So the INE, or I am not enough imposter syndrome, has the person experiences a lot of feelings of self-doubt. They don't believe that they have the skills, or they have the tools, or they deserve or are worthy of being somewhere or doing something. So I don't know if you've ever experienced this. I've absolutely experienced it, where I've entered into a situation or even started a workshop, and here I am speaking about the things that I know, things that are my genius. And yet I don't feel like I don't know if I didn't feel like I could be sharing my genius. Now, it didn't mean I didn't have it, but I just really doubted whether it was enough. Let me know if this is making sense to you. Also, the I am not enough imposter syndrome is really fear-based. So it has a lot of fear and scarcity feelings to it. I don't belong here. These people are better than me. It often starts out with comparison. So I don't know how many of you are in the online world as entrepreneurs, but in the online world, there are so many entrepreneurs, and it is easy to get caught in the trap of, I have to over deliver this thing, or because these people are offering all of this stuff, or I have to do these other things to make my service as good as other people's services, right? And so I think there's some pushback that's starting to happen about that, which I'm really happy about. But it really does, this I am not enough imposter syndrome starts with comparisons. It also ebbs and it flows, but most of the time you're feeling it quite often. So that's the first type of imposter syndrome. And let me know if you're like, oh, I feel like I have that one. Okay, so here is the second type of imposter syndrome. Excuse me. The second type is the INA imposter syndrome, or I am not aligned imposter syndrome. So this was something that I've been learning a lot about out there, and it made a lot of sense to me because in the beginning of my business or in the beginning of any kind of venture, even like riding in the AIDS ride, it's like, oh, am I going to be able to do this? I don't know if I can. If I go and I don't do this, well, I'm just saying that I'm an endurance athlete or whatever, right? Um, but the INA is not aligned imposter syndrome. And what this is that you feel confident that you have the tools, the skills, the gifts, you have everything you need to accomplish something. So it's not like you don't know that you can do it. The question becomes something different. It's kind of like you look around and everyone else is happy where they're at, and you're like, I don't know if this is for me. Or oftentimes the I am not aligned imposter syndrome can really show up and um, feeling like you don't either fit in, and it's not because you don't deserve to be there, but there's something within you that says, is this all there is? Everyone else when I worked for other people, everyone else was seemingly happy to work for other people and do whatever they needed to do for that. And I wasn't. So then I thought, oh my gosh, is there something wrong with me? But what I ended up finding out was that I just wasn't aligned anymore. Or honestly, I wasn't really aligned in the begin with because I was trying to put myself in all these boxes to be enough to prove that I was good enough for this job or whatever. So it's about not feeling aligned. Oftentimes you can feel like an outsider in your own life. So is some of the questions that you, excuse me, may ask yourself are, something feels really off. There's something else that I'm supposed to be doing. I just don't know what it is. All too is like, is this all there is? The other thing is, how did I get here? So I have a lot of clients who live life and do the things that they think that they were meant to do and that they did. And yet they arrive at a certain point in life and they're like, what is happening? This is not how I pictured this to going. I don't want to be feeling this right now, right? So they ask like this is not where I want to be. So you have that feeling of tension within you that says there's got to be something else. If you're having that and people are telling you that there's nothing else, I want to say that there is always something else. If you've been saying, how do I get out of this? How do I create alignment in my life and feel good about what I'm doing, how I'm living, how I'm interacting in the world? That is like, that's you craving this alignment. And there is, you can have alignment. Oftentimes we limit ourselves, or we've been limited by the things we've learned about ourselves that really weren't even ours in the first place. And therefore we don't know what is out of alignment and what is in alignment. I was explaining it to someone yesterday, we're out of alignment and then we believe that this is alignment, but it's not. It's this that's alignment. So it's these kind of concepts that when you're seeing that your imposter syndrome is sabotaging your motivation, it's really important to find out which one that you are actually experiencing. Because although you can deal with them in similar ways, they don't lend themselves to the same solutions. If someone is having imposter syndrome because they really have a belief within themselves and about themselves that is stopping them from being or having something that they want, that is like, I am not enough imposter syndrome. And that is where we need to shift beliefs. This is where we need to say, okay, what are the things that cause those beliefs? How did you adopt that? What do you want to keep? What do you want to release? And then create a new reality. For the I am not aligned imposter syndrome, you have a knowing and a confidence about your skills. You have a knowing and a confidence about what you know. You have a knowing and a confidence of maybe about how you want to interact in the world. You just haven't been able to identify where you can do that at. Or maybe even sometimes you have a little bit of both imposter syndromes. So this can get really convoluted, but the main point for this is that once you realize and can name the imposter syndrome, acknowledge it and say, this is what's happening, you then have a way and a path to a solution in which you can feel that resolve. And therefore, the majority of the time you feel it less, less, and less, and less. And if it does come up and it's sabotaging your motivation again, because we're human, these things happen, you can quickly say, oh, this is what I want to do about it. This is how I want to be in this way. And therefore, the imposter syndrome almost just kind of melts away. Let me know if you are someone that wants the imposter syndrome to melt away in your life so that you can actually do what the F you want to be doing, that you can actually be interacting in the world the way you want to interact. See, imposter syndrome and motivation are interesting because I think that we often look at it being externally driven. Imposter syndrome and motivation are intrinsically driven. And what I want to talk to you about in the next road to radical visibility is how are you able to identify it? So you know the definitions now. So over this next week, pay attention to when the imposter pipes up and says, hey, we can't. See if you can identify whether it's I am not enough imposter syndrome or I am not aligned imposter syndrome. So next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig into these a little bit deeper, and I'm going to talk to you about specifically what skills and tools you can be using to move through both of these, even independently or at the same time. Now, this is really going to allow you to free yourself of a whole bunch of belief systems that may not even be yours in the first place. It's going to allow you to feel an intrinsic difference and therefore be able to recall that feeling and shift your mind and your body at any given time when you need to. This is the beauty of the work that I do with my clients, is that it's not dependent on an external circumstance. What my clients do is they learn how to do this intrinsically, how to use neuroscience, how to use mind-body connection, and they're able to then recreate and move through whatever is stopping them because they have this clear path. And also because they become aligned in who they want to be in the world. So when we work on it intrinsically, it really does have a foundational shift that the person can keep renewing. It's like a renewable resource. Hey, look at that. And you're able to do the same thing over and over and over again and move through what you want to move through. All right. So I would love to hear from all of you. What did you think about learning about the two types of imposter syndrome? Let me know your thoughts on that, which one you're experiencing, which one you think you're experiencing, or if you're experiencing both at different times. There's a lot of good meatiness here that we're going to dig into in the next Road to Radical Visibility. So I hope that you tune in for that. Again, if you've liked what you've heard today, please make sure that you share it. You can get the link, share it on your social media, hit that subscribe and the bell so that you make sure to be notified the next time a new video drops. So I'll end this video like I end every single video. Please make sure to stay true to yourself, be kind to others, and always, always, always honor the wise one that is within you. I hope to see you all on the next episode of Road to Radical Visibility. Until then.